Welcome back to our Facebook Live audience, and thank you for joining us for this City Council Candidate Forum for District 2. We are honored and privileged to have the two candidates with us today. We have to my immediate left the incumbent council member, Mr. Alan Warrick, and to his left, the challenger, William Cruz Shaw. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Juan Antonio Flores. I am a volunteer here today as moderator. I am chairman of the San Antonio Chamber's Legislative Committee for 2017. In an effort to engage a broader audience and more diverse audience, we are broadcasting all of these 6 candidate forums that we have hosted today on Facebook Live. To be clear, the Chamber of Commerce does not endorse candidates. Rather, the purpose of these forums is to inform the community about the mayoral and city council candidates and what their positions are on the issues of importance to our membership, which focus around business development and economic growth in our community. We have over 2,100 members in San Antonio. Altogether, the Chamber's membership employs over 500,000 people in what is now the 7th largest city in the country. So, from the Chamber's perspective, being able to collaborate with and essentially influence city leadership on the issues of importance to our membership is why we do this. So we thank both of you for being here today. We've got about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so to discuss some questions that have been prepared by our Public Affairs Council here at the Chamber, members of the Chamber, and at about 15 to 20 minutes in or so, we'll look to take a couple of questions from the audience as well. So please ask your questions in the comment section. Before beginning, we drew numbers. The two candidates did draw numbers to see who would go first with a 2-minute or so introductory remark. And we're going to start with you, Mr. Shaw.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. My name is William Cruz Shaw. I am a local attorney here in San Antonio, originally from Houston. I am a vet from the United States Navy. I'm also a member of the San Antonio Chamber, LSA Class 41 and 40 under 40. I've been involved in District 2 for about 8 or 9 years now, because that's where my practice is located. Really involved in the different communities there, engaged with the seniors as well as educational opportunities. I was asked to run for District 2 because the community at large felt that they needed stronger leadership, stronger voice in the district. It's never been my plan. I'm not a politician. I never went to anything seeking a political office. But when so many people have asked me to do such a thing, I couldn't turn my back on it. So that's why I'm here before you today, to answer questions and engage in dialogue. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Warrick, City Councilman for District 2, and I'm definitely glad to be here with the Chamber and sharing my vision for District 2 as well as the things I plan on implementing for these next 2 years. I have been the councilman since December of 2014, working on a number of issues, but the 4 key things that I've been working on are 0 vacant homes and lots, 0 murders, 0 stray dogs, and 0% unemployment. We've been able to drive those current numbers down closer to 0 over these last 2 years, and we look to have that zeros done hopefully within 8 years. That's the plan. I am glad to be here today, and I look forward to the questions.
Thank you very much. So starting with the questions prepared by the Public Affairs Council, very soon after this election, as the new council is seated, we'll begin the process for budget prioritization for the next fiscal year. So please give us some ideas as to what are the issues or the strategies that you would each advocate for as top priorities for the next year's budget. And we'll start with you, Councilman Ward.
Sure. For the next budget, there are a couple things that are key. On 0 stray dogs, we have over 6,000 strays in the district that are picked up every year. That's an increase from 2014 when we were picking up about 3,000. So we've got our own dog catcher, but it's still not enough in areas of need and areas of change, actually. So in our near east side, closer to downtown, we're still seeing large populations, 15, 20, 25 dogs that are still not picked up, even though we have a full-time person on it. So I plan on adding an additional dog catcher in the district, focusing on the Promise Zone, which is pretty much the area inside of 410, between 410 and 281. on the east side. And then I also plan on focusing monies towards our bond projects, making sure that the planning and development of the $98 million of investment that the citizens voted in gets used and implemented correctly.
Thank you. Mr. Shaw, budget priorities for the next fiscal year.
I believe my priorities would be, after speaking to a lot of people in the community, my priority would be focusing on public safety and economic development and workforce development. They all work together because we all know that if we have a strong workforce, strong education opportunities for our young people, that decreases the amount of crime in the community. And I think that's one of the major issues that we see right now, not just in District 2, but citywide.
Thank you very much. This next question relates somewhat to the first, or at least I think in the responses both of you gave, I think you'll see the connection. But as members of City Council, council members have the privilege and the platform to work on and influence issues that affect the entire city. However, council members are elected in a single district, first and foremost to represent the interests of that specific district. So an opportunity to elaborate a little bit. We'll start with you, Mr. Shaw. Just what are issues or challenges specific to District 2 that as a council member you would want to address?
Once again, public safety. I believe in a strong strategic community policing initiative, getting officers into our communities, getting more of our young people that are graduating high school and college to become police officers so they can come back and give back to their communities. It's important that we focus on our internal issues that we face right now. Like I said before, educational and workforce development. We need to make sure that we strategically plan out a strategy that focuses on that. So when folks graduate, or young people graduate from high school or college, they can come back to the community and be advocates for the community.
Thank you. Councilman.
I'd probably leave the programs that we have in place. So we have the Eastside Educational Training Center in partnership with the Goodwill San Antonio, Project Quest, the United Way is there as well as the Alamo colleges, and that's a one-stop shop for job training, educational attainment. I focus on getting more people to that one-stop through the Texas Workforce. We're working on a move of their Texas Workforce location into that site as well, so people would go there, get a job, train for a job, free childcare, all in the same facility. So it's going to be definitely beneficial, but people have to know about it, so we have to spread the word in the community, focus on getting our unemployment down below 10%. We were at 15% 4 years ago, so we definitely want to drop it down to 10%, especially in a city that has less than 3.8% unemployment citywide. So there's focus there, but then also growing the ShotSpotter footprint. ShotSpotter, we found that there's over 3,400 gunshots on the east and west sides of San Antonio in just 2 square miles of our nearly 500 square mile city. So looking at correlations with other areas in the district and seeing where we can reduce gun violence.
Thank you very much to both of you. Traffic and transportation, issues that are front and center in many quadrants of our city. I believe it's citywide. And so the question from the Public Affairs Council is with regard to our population growth and how this will increase traffic congestion for the future. How would you encourage and develop safe and effective and efficient multimodal transportation specifically? Your thoughts on multimodal? And is there a role or a place for high speed or some sort of passenger rail in the mix of transportation options? Start with you.
Definitely along the I-35 corridor, we have to get the high-speed rail. We're still working on the project from Monterey to San Antonio to Austin to Dallas, and that's going to be a huge one. But just getting any kind of rail from Austin to Dallas has to be a priority for this council and the mayor going forward in order to really connect the two cities and create that megapolis that Austin and San Antonio would be, and because we also have the fastest growing cities in between San Marcos, New Braunfels, Buda, Kyle are all very fast growing towns, and this whole corridor with that rail would boom even more as far as transportation. Multimodal, we got to go look at bicycles as well. We need more bike lanes on the east side. We have a lot of opportunity for infill, which is going to allow for people to live closer to downtown so they can bike, so that's a reasonable option. We have nearly 1,000 vacant homes inside of New Braunfels, which is about a mile and a half from City Hall. So it's really a reasonable option, and people should start looking at coming in closer to the city.
Mr. Shaw, transportation.
I think one thing I would like to see happen is bring VIA back to the table. VIA is very viable to this community and to the city as a whole, specifically District 2. But we need to make sure that VIA has the proper funding resources and mechanisms to keep it going efficiently and effectively. I know there was a vote on council which declined that funding. We need to bring that back to the table because many people in District 2 ride the bus. And it's sad that they have to be at work at 9 and have to get on the bus by 6 to get to work on time. So we need to make sure that we provide VIA the most, some opportunities and resources to be funded and to be work effectively. I also believe that a rail system is an avenue that we can take, but the downside of that, I think it will affect our workforce development here, because we need to make sure that we have a stable workforce here before we allow a railway system between here and Austin, those individuals who come from Austin and work in San Antonio. We need to make sure we take care of our own communities and our own employees and employers here in the town. But I do believe in bike lanes. I think bike lanes are very viable and a very creative strategy. But the issue is, how do we create that at a reasonable rate and ensuring public safety? Because it's something new to Texas. Sharing roadways with pedestrians and drivers, and we want to make sure that people are safe.
Thank you. Segueing to job growth and what strategies and what role the city government and city council members can and should play in that. Some thoughts and ideas about what you might do, or what a city council might do to incentivize job growth in San Antonio.
You know, I think a lot of companies, as well as internal companies, want to come here or want to see our companies grow. But we need to make sure that we have the proper resources available to support that growth. And one of the biggest things that we may have to ensure that we have is human capital. And with that human capital, individuals that can take on these jobs and grow within these jobs. Well, it's interesting enough now that, you know, for my generation, people were working for a corporation 20, 30 years and then retiring. That's not happening anymore. Our millennials, our young folks are changing jobs all over the place, all the time. So we need to make sure that we have a strong economic and workforce development system in place to support strategies to help our job growth, as well as education sources.
Councilman Warrick, job growth strategies.
I think we have to really bring SA Works to the table and partner with our one-stop shop in District 2 at Eastside Educational Training Center. I think the two and the collaborations that could come from that would be huge for job growth. We also need to incentivize businesses to move downtown, because we know that younger people, millennials, want to live in vibrant urban areas. So they will also want to work in vibrant urban areas, live, work, play in their same environments. So if we can find more incentives for folks to move their businesses downtown, I think we'll also have more residents coming downtown as well.
So I'm going to segue on that. You both mentioned, you know, the youthful working population and the very coveted, from an economic and demographic standpoint, millennial generation. You look at all the cities on the move throughout the country: San Antonio, Austin, San Diego, Portland, Seattle, cities that have been successful in strategies to attract and keep young people that are doing the jobs that are trained for the jobs of tomorrow. So elaborate a little bit more on specifically millennials. How do we attract them? How do we keep them here?
Well, I think the key is the bond. If you look at the Hemisphere Park project, the Broadway Corridor project, those are two focuses, almost $60 million of investment in making this really a vibrant downtown, making it easier for businesses to move into these areas, and making it easier for residential opportunities to happen in and around Hemisphere Park. So there are probably 10,000 residential units that we could infill in the next 5 to 10 years. And those are most likely going to be younger people or people that are downsizing, you know, leaving their home in the suburbs and coming down, because we have a vibrant culinary scene, we have a vibrant arts and entertainment scene downtown as well. And I think it's going to be convenient and a great opportunity for everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Shaw.
We have to make not only downtown, but certain pockets throughout the city very vibrant, very attractive to millennials, and cater to what they're looking for. Restaurants, mom and pop shops, but most importantly, economic growth and workforce development. Like I said before, a lot of our young folks are not staying in corporations very long. So we need to have those incubators, those workforce incubators, where they're able to be transparent and they can able to move around the city and get work done. I'm a huge supporter of entrepreneurship, so we need to provide resources to the city to support that entrepreneurship as well as that spirit. We want to make sure that we provide opportunities for our young people, and then as a nightlife, because as young adults want to have fun. We need to make sure that they can come here, have fun, but at the same time, get a great work experience, great education opportunities, and remain here in San Antonio.
Thank you both for those very thoughtful and thorough answers to the prepared questions from our Public Affairs Council. I do have a couple of questions that have come in from our Facebook Live viewership. And so I will start with you, Mr. Shaw. And I'm trying to be mindful to rotate who gets to answer first for parity here. And so the question from the viewer is one we had earlier today as well. What is your position and approach to ensuring police accountability?
We need to get back to the table. We need to make sure that our police officers are accountable to our community, to our citizens. They're here to protect us and they're here to serve us. There's no reason why our community should be scared of officers. I'm a firm believer of coming back to the table, even though the contract has already been voted on and signed. We need to negotiate, because if we're going to have the best SAPD officers or police officers in the country, we should raise the standard and show the rest of the country our officers are accountable for themselves and each other. So let's talk about this and see why they need to be accountable and how we push forward.
Thank you. Councilman Warrick.
One of the things that I ran on in 2014 were body cameras. There was an incident this past weekend where a 15-year-old girl was punched in the face by an SAPD officer, and the video went fairly viral on YouTube and Facebook. And 3 years ago, if that were to happen, it would be a he said, she said scenario. Now we have 11 body cameras to analyze and get a picture of the entire situation. Body cameras definitely add accountability and also protect the city, protect the residents, and also protect the officers in case of issues happening in the community. We also need to look at the ShotSpotter technology and understand that 80% of the gunshots that I talked about, those 3,200 shots, are not reported by citizens. It's only reported by the technology, which means that we have less safe communities and we have people that aren't even complaining about that. So how do we give them the equity and make the police more available to them when they're in need, as opposed to just when there's a murder or a situation where there's actual robbery or something.
Thank you both very much for your responses. At the Texas legislature over the last 135 days or so, revenue caps at the local level has been a hot topic. I think we're facing successful legislation that will lower the rollback threshold as far as coming to a vote. So we have this tension between state level lawmakers seeking to provide property relief at the local level, and local governments that feel like their hands are tied and don't want their hands tied as to their ability to raise revenue. So starting with you, Councilman, how would you balance the need for increased revenue, yet being mindful of the desire of homeowners to keep their taxes low?
No, I think it's really about educating those homeowners so that they can realize that this is really not the solution to the problem. And if they want more streets and sidewalks and more police officers and more of the things that cities do, this is going to be detrimental to a lot of those important things that we do. And it's really going to pinch our budgets in a lot of the areas where we really can't afford to pinch. We have $4 billion in deferred maintenance on our streets and sidewalks in San Antonio. I have, probably about 700 miles of neighborhoods that have no sidewalks at all. So to say that we have to cap revenues and just to give, I think it's like a less than $200 benefit to the average homeowner, I just don't think it's going to work in the long run. And I think we're going to go back to the legislature in 19, and we're going to see some kind of reform of whatever happens this year.
Mr. Shaw.
We have to be very strategic in addressing this issue. It's a very complicated issue, like most government issues are. In terms of property tax, our city's growing, and it's growing at a very exponential rate. So when we have this growth, we have to ensure that we have the city resources available to sustain that growth and provide for that growth. That comes through taxes. But at the same time, we have to protect our seniors and those on fixed incomes, as well as new homeowners, because that puts them in a situation where they're destined to lose their home if they can't afford that increase. So we don't have all the answers, but we have to be strategic on how we do this. And we have to sit down and keep everyone in mind. Yes, the city's growing. Yes, we have to provide more resources, but just upping everybody's taxes is not the solution. We have to protect those who've been here for generations. We have to protect those as well as our future homeowners.
And just for a point of clarification, we have not raised taxes in 13 years, I believe. It's just the property values raised so that the burden is a little bit higher.
I want to thank both of you for taking the time to be here. I know that scheduling this on a Friday afternoon at the start of an important holiday weekend was not easy, so I want to thank both of you for having done what was necessary in order to be here this afternoon. On behalf of the membership, I want to thank you for your very thorough and thoughtful and spirited answers. I know that this is of great benefit to the viewership, and I want to commend you both for having been here and participated. So with that, I'm going to invite you all to offer your closing remarks, again, about 2 minutes, and we'll start with you, Councilman.
Sure. I would love to thank the Chamber for putting on this forum. This is new. We didn't do this last time, so I look forward to doing this in the future as well. This is a great avenue to touch more people, and I'll definitely send more Facebook Live viewers this way now that we know that you guys are doing it in this format. I'm glad to serve the people of District 2. I've been happily married and living in District 2 for the last 7 years, and I'm originally from the district, and I'm gonna stay in the district. I'm not from anywhere else, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm really just ready to move the district forward towards those 4 zeros, and then also we can focus on education. But you got to get the basics out of the way first. So once we take care of 0 vacant homes and lots, 0 murders, 0 stray dogs, and 0% unemployment, then the other items that are a little more exotic that other districts can worry about because they don't have some of those issues would be on the table for District 2. So I appreciate the forum, I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to getting your vote and getting back in office on May 30th. Starting May 30th and June 10th. Thank you.
Mr. Shaw. Well, thank you to the Chamber for having us. Thank you, Councilman Ward, for being in attendance. First things first, LSA Class 41 is the best. Just keep that in mind. But I got into this race because I was asked and encouraged by many constituents in the district. I'm a small business owner. I'm an attorney. My practice is in the district. I'm really involved in the district. I understand the district issues as well as city issues. I'm here for no other reason but to serve. I like to work. That's what I do for a living. I represent people on a day-to-day basis in the courtroom. Now I've been asked to represent people on a city, local, municipal level, and I've taken on that challenge. So I'm doing it out of good spirit. I'm here to serve. I'm a public servant at heart, and I'm asking humbly for your vote. William Cruz Shaw. Thank you.
Thank you again to both of you. With that, thank you to our viewers that joined us for this forum and for the others throughout the day. We hope you found these exchanges between the candidates in the runoff for the June 10th election for City Council insightful and informative, and we look forward to continuing to keep you informed as the election progresses.